I'm going to share my screen. Just some clarification. At Pathwire, we don't translate into 15 languages, but just into 9. My previous company, Formlabs, we translated into more than 15, but yeah, okay. When you are translating to more than 2 or 3, that's crazy enough. Let me share my screen. Let me know at any time if there is any sound problem, please, or image problem. Trying to share. Can you see my screen?
It is loading. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so oops. Okay, I can hear me twice. No, it's okay now. Okay, so yeah, what we are going to do. This is not now. What we are going to do. I can hear myself. Maybe someone, if you can mute your microphone. That would be great. Yeah, as Nigel has said, and Jaisa was saying, as I am a localization manager for Pathwire. I have been also translation project manager. I have been working many years and still work for INOR, the Spanish standardization body, translating international and European standards. I have worked a lot as audiovisual translator, which is something I love doing. I was also a university professor and head of studies at the Universidad Internacional Menéndez Pelayo in Seville, and I have 4 master degrees in education, translation, and international business. Okay, so just as a warming up, what I would like you to do is to share your LinkedIn profiles, your countries, your nationalities in the chat. This is about making, this is about networking. So we are translators and we should expand our network and try to meet people with who share our same needs or who have the same needs and work in the same industry. So try to meet people. You never know who you are going to meet. You may find your spouse here. You may find someone with whom collaborate. So please make questions relevant to the webinar. We'll answer them at the end. I recommend you to open a text editor or to take a notebook and a pen to make notes. Register in TranslaStars, which is the company I run, which is an online learning platform. And we have a promotion, 30 euros off just today and tomorrow in any course in any of our platforms. We have 3, the Spanish one, the .com one, and the Italian one. And you can get 30 euros off any course, not any webinars, but any course just using the word webinar, the code webinar. So I think that's great. So this is what we are going to cover. This is the contents we are going to cover. What I'm going to do here is to share with you some best practices I have learned through my more than 20 years career. So you can apply most of the topics we are going to cover in the creation and translation of content. But this is not, however, carved on stone. And you will need to ask your customers, your teams, the teams you work with, etc., to know what they prefer doing, what they prefer applying in their marketing and localization strategies. In any case, my aim with this webinar is that you acquire some skills that will help you understand better how the translation related to SEO is made and how to offer your customers, for example, in case you work as freelancers, a value-added service for which you can also bill them. So you will be able, in many cases, to offer them the possibility to improve their source text content and not just the translations. Okay, so maybe you are asking, okay, SEO, why is all this important to us translators and linguists? Because companies use text, use copy, what we call copy, keywords, descriptions, and they need to write and, of course, translate. So the more you know about this and how to position your customers, how to make them appear higher on search engines like Google, that will be better for the company you work with, and they will sell more, and they will be super happy, and they will pay you more. So the more you know about SEO and how to localize or translate SEO content, the better. We have a kickoff activity, as I always say. This is not the typical boring webinar, so we are going to try to have some fun. So if your idea was to sit there like 2 hours, or not 2 hours, just 1 hour, listening to me without doing anything, this is not going to be the case. So I have a first activity for you. This is a kickoff activity, a quite easy one. I would like you to match these headings I have on top with the numbers 1 to 5 with the definitions below. So we clarify some things or maybe misconceptions we have. And please take 30 seconds to read everything and to try to think what's the solution. And you can share your answers if you want on the chat, but it's not necessary in this case. I will ask you to share more later. Come on, 15 seconds. 5. Okay, let's go. I'll show you the answer, which is the one we have here. So as we are going to focus on SEO localization, which is 1A, I'm going to read the definition of that. So SEO localization is the process of translating website content like blog posts, web pages, or keywords into a specific target locale, paying great attention to the cultural references and social attitudes of the locale. So it is content that we need to rank in search engines. We need to appear in the first position to sell our products or services. And this content needs also to adapt to technical features, as you can imagine. So when we talk about SEO, it's not just about translation, but for example, you need your content to be or to adapt, for example, to a mobile device, or to be able to be seen correctly on your computer, etc. There are also character constraints in SEO and in SEO translation, of course. As we will see, content created with SEO in mind needs to be not only localized or translated, but sometimes transcreated. Sometimes we have to change everything and we accept the idea that is behind the original text. You have some other definitions, like in 2B, SEO localization is the localization we make for ad content. So all those ads you can see on Google, for example, or any other social media or well, Google is not social media, but any other search engine or any social media. Transcreation, I was mentioning before, which is adapting content from one language to another while maintaining the existing one intent and style. Marketing, translation, and localization, I always like to make this difference, because one thing is SEO localization, another completely different, not different, but it's different, it's marketing translation. Marketing translation is, or localization is the translation and localization of copy, of like product brochures, ebooks, guides, video, website content, social media posts from one language to a target locale. So that's the difference. So SEO, our aim is to position in the first positions of a search engine our content, which is usually blog posts or web pages. And marketing translation is much more. There can be a lot of different types of processes. And then we have copywriting, which is the act or occupation of writing text for the purpose of advertising or other forms of marketing. So I hope that's clear. So we can start with some other interesting things. Those of you who have taken some of my webinars before, you'll see that some information here is similar to what you have seen in some of my webinars, but there's much more. And people, this is just the tip of it. I'm running a bootcamp at the end of October on TranslaStars.com. which is 5 days, it's 10 hours, and you learn a lot more. So this is just the tip. I'm going to show you, this is just an introduction. So imagine what you can do knowing about SEO. So let's talk now about a little bit the lingo, what's SERP, organic and paid results. Let's start, as I was saying, with some lingo that will be helpful for us when we talk about SEO and localization. So the first term we have, this abbreviation, is SERP. SERP stands for Search Engine Results Page, and it's related to search marketing as a whole, paid and organic. Don't worry, because I will explain now what means this thing of paid and organic. In search marketing, in SEO, what we are trying to do is to gain share of a shared search engine results page, so the SERP. So what we want is to appear as high as possible, so everybody click on our site. When a search is conducted that has to do with our brand or keywords related to our product, solution, or services, we want our website URLs to display as early and often as possible, whether that be in the paid section using, for example, Google Ads, or in the organic section, thanks to our optimization efforts, optimization of contents. But let's see what we mean by paid and organic traffic. So in the image above, you'll see a partial search engine results page. For the search, I made this search in Spanish, cursos online, which in English is online courses. So the Google ad results are, you have used Google a lot of times and you know it, but the Google ad results are at the top and have the ad notification, in Spanish, anuncio, to the left in the green square, as you can see there. That's the paid traffic, and that is related to SEA, okay? So SEA, which is different from SEO. SEO is what we are going to cover today. So those without the anuncio or ad designation are the organic search results, the one you see in the red box below, okay? Those results that appear after the ads. By the way, as you can see in the yellow box, Google algorithm understands synonyms. It shows you results containing the word en línea as a synonym of online. So that should give you an idea of what you can do when you are creating or translating content for SEO or SEA. That means that when you look for something, unless you are using the quotes, it will show you relevant results, even as in this case, if you don't have the word en línea or online included in the content of your page, as in the case of the Udemy ad we can see there. Another important thing you should know, as from 2021, this year, Google algorithm has changed. It's always changing, it's always evolving. And now it ranks better in search engine results page, at least for organic traffic, those pages with better content and not just a page with 1 million keywords. That used to be something people did a lot in the past, which was what is called keyword stuffing. So adding a lot of keywords to the page, even the names of their competition, just because they wanted to rank high. Google doesn't rank that as a good result. So don't do that. Don't add a lot of words related to a topic. What you have to do is to write content for your readers. You need to answer questions. You need to create good content first and then think of Google. Do not do it the other way around. Do not think of Google first and then of your readers, because that's not going to work. When I say write, I also mean localize. As you will see in the next slide, Google ranks better pages that are descriptive, well organized, and can solve a search carried out by a customer, not just pages with a lot of keywords. I insist on that thing of the keywords. That means keywords, a good meta description, a good meta title, metadata are very important. And don't worry if you don't know what's this thing of keywords, meta description, meta title, metadata, because I am going to cover that. Yeah, let's go to the next slide. So in the next slide, well, here you see in the yellow box an example that good meta descriptions together with the right keywords rank your page better. In this case, we have this organic result for best dog food. So I mean, writing well can rank you high. Of course, if you want to appear in the very first ad position, then you have to pay, but just need to create good content. Let's continue. Now, let's talk about SEM. So SEM is the acronym for Search Engine Marketing, and it is really a catch-all term to encompass all of those marketing tactics that have to do with search. So this term includes SEO, the search engine optimization, and SEA that we have just seen with the ads. As we have seen in the best of food images before, in any Google search we make, we can see paid and non-paid SEM tactics. So paid tactics, what we call SEA, are often referred to as PPC as well, that PPC means pay-per-click, or stands for pay-per-click. So ads are displayed as a combination of keyword strategy, meta description, budget, offer strategy, and the ad itself. So PPC, as you know, it's not exclusive of Google, and you can find it on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and also they also offer their own paid options. And mainly refers to the paid side of search marketing. Let's continue. Now let's go to this famous word. You see it in a lot of CVs, people who claim that they are experts on SEO and then they know nothing about SEO. Okay, so SEO, yeah, as I was saying, this is the most popular term in online marketing. And yeah, it makes reference to the use of strategies and tactics to help your website or web page gain visibility in a search engine's organic search engine results page. So as I was saying before, it's not only about good writing. So we have on-page SEO, which is optimizing all the areas of our website using keywords and smart content, so with the usage of metadata, heading tags, image tags, and web copy to best incorporate and utilize keywords, improve rankings and organic traffic. We also have off-page SEO, which is connecting our website to relevant sites or content to help improve our link profile, uses of link building to build our brand reputation and trustworthiness. So this is super important. This is another reason why if you have your own website, it's good to do networking and to have it linked in other websites, okay? And then we have technical SEO, which is optimizing site structure, design, and architecture. For example, making our site mobile friendly. So it's a nightmare when you open a site and it's not displayed correctly on your cell phones. So this can help improve metrics like the bounce rate, so the amount people stays in your pages, the page load speed, the indexing, and reduce broken links. So the better the site experience, the better our site will perform when it comes to SEO. So as you can see, this is not just about writing good content or localizing correctly, but it is much more. Okay, let's continue. Now let's talk about ranking. This is a super short intro to ranking, how to rank on Google. I think it's important, so yeah, let's cover it. Let's talk about how to rank a page. How to position our page or blog on the first places in search engines. Well, Google ranking systems sort through hundreds of billions of web pages, as you can imagine, in their search index to find the most relevant, useful results and present them in a way that helps you find what you are looking for. These ranking systems are made up of a whole series of algorithms, so it's not just one algorithm when people talk about Google algorithm. So search algorithms look at many factors, including the words of your query. The query is what you look for, what you search, the relevance and usability of pages, the expertise of sources, and your location and settings, also the freshness sometimes. So the weight applied to each factor varies depending on the nature of the query. Let's go now to the meaning of your query. So to return relevant results for your query, Google first needs to establish what information you are looking for. So what we call the intent behind your query. So understanding intent is fundamentally about understanding language and it's a critical aspect of search. So Google builds language models to try to decipher word strings or words should be looked up in the index. This involves steps from interpreting spelling mistakes to understanding the type of query we have entered by applying research on natural language understanding. In the bootcamp, I covered this thing about natural language understanding because this is a whole issue. For example, the synonym system helps search, Google search, know what we mean by establishing that multiple words mean the same thing. This is indeed super important for SEO. So this capability allows search to match the query. For example, how to change a light bulb with pages describing how to replace a light bulb. So Google identifies that change is a synonym of replace. Okay. Search algorithms also try to understand what category of information you are looking for. Is it a very specific search or a broad query? What language are you writing your query in? You want fresh information, like when you look for the result of a football game, or all information. That's what the algorithms do. Okay, let's continue. Now I have another activity for you. This is super short, to explain synonyms. So I would like to ask you, what text is better for SEO and why? Think of English and its localizations into your language, please. So, and I will give you 1 minute to think and post answers in the chat. So what do you think it's better? Text A in terms of SEO or text B, and why? Come on, 1 minute. And maybe Julia, you can help me with the answers, Julia, Jaisa, or Nigel. If they answer something, I hope you do. It's just saying, what do you think it's better? You don't need to know, but I want you to try. I want you to think. What do you think? What you think is better? Come on, 30 seconds. Come on, think, answer.
Also, people say in option B, Alfonso.
Option B is better. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was going to say B as well. Because,
no, that's just mine. Sorry.
there are more synonyms, so people using different words in the search will still find you, hopefully.
Yes, I mean, both texts are very good. Okay, so I have taken actually this from our website, from Pathwire website, the company I work for as a localization manager, and both are perfectly correct. Okay, but as Nigel was saying, the second one could rank better. Okay, because imagine you look for how to send impacting messages or correspondence. Those are all synonyms Google is going to recognize as having the same meaning as email. But hey, you are broadening the possibilities that people could find your site just because you inserted synonym, which, by the way, make your text richer and not that boring. I mean, in this case, text A is not boring. It's using emails that it should be used. But think of the translation, for example, in Spanish. I'm from Spain, as you can tell by my accent, by the way. But think of the translation of the many translations the word email can have in Spanish. You can say mensaje, you can say correo, you can say so many things that, hey, when you are translating, when you are localizing SEO, think of that as well. Of course, you will need to ask your SEO team or your customer if that's okay, or because maybe your customer says, no. Whenever you see the word email in English, I want you to translate it by this other term in your target language. That's okay, but you can let them know, okay, but if we add synonyms, it can help you rank better. Just make them know, okay? And of course, it's richer than have just one word. Yeah, so yeah, if someone asks you, hey, why didn't you keep it homogeneous? Well, SEO reasons, of course, if you are thinking of SEO reasons, of course. Okay, let's move on. Sometimes I get this question, hey, Alfonso, what about misspellings? I am a very smart person and I'm going to add, you know, on purpose, something which is misspelled. So people who make a typo when they are looking for something. Okay, so you are a smart guy. Let's go back to text A we saw before. So if you add a misspelling on purpose, instead of writing email, you write EMIAL, because there are lots of people who write it that way because they are just typing fast. Well, in short, this doesn't help, because when you do that, you probably you have seen in Spanish we get this quizá quisiste decir, and in English you will get that did you mean blah blah blah. So Google is not stupid, and it's going to say, okay, you meant another thing. Okay, so if you add that in your web page or your blog post on purpose, Google is not going to penalize you for your bad grammar, for your typos, but your customers are. Okay, when they see typos on your web page or your content, they say, oh, this is not a good place to come, because they don't even know how to spell words. So your bounce rate may increase, so the time users spend on your site page. And that means that if it increases, people will just log into, will click on your page and they will get out very fast because they don't like it, or because the content there is not what they were looking for. And you don't want that to happen. Remember, you write or translate for your users, not for Google, and you want to create a good user experience. And if you ask me, okay, Alfonso, but can I rank higher for inserting misspellings? Most probably not. So do not do that on purpose, okay? All search engines will offer you the typical did you mean, as you can see in the red box in the example B below. So you may say, so does it all depend on the words we use to rank higher? Well, you have our friend here giving you the answer. No, okay? Algorithms also analyze the content of web pages to assess whether the page contains information that might be relevant to what you are looking for. So the most basic signal that information is relevant is when a web page contains the same keywords as your search query. If those keywords appear on the page, or if they appear in the headings or body of the text, the information is more likely to be relevant. Beyond simple keyword matching, Google uses aggregated and interaction data to assess whether search results are relevant to queries. So they transform that data into signals that help our machine learned systems better estimate relevance, Google machines. So these relevant signals help Google search algorithm assess whether a web page contains an answer to your search query, rather than just repeating the same question. When you search for emails, for example, for the word emails, you likely don't want a page with the word emails on it hundreds of times. With that in mind, algorithm assess if a page contains other relevant content beyond the keyword emails, such as videos on how to create email address, or a list of email service providers. Of course, the more specific your query, the better the results you will get. That's what we will see later about keywords and long-tail keywords. However, the system does not analyze subjective concepts as the viewpoint or political leaning of any page. So it doesn't care who you vote. They have also some ways to forbid from some type of content from being displayed online, but that's a different story. Okay, quality of content. So search algorithms also aim to prioritize the most reliable sources available. So to do this, Google systems are designed to identify signals that can help determine which pages demonstrate expertise, authority, and trustworthiness on a given topic. So it looks for sites that many users seem to value for similar queries. That's why you, for example, see that Wikipedia is always on top. For example, if other prominent websites link to the page, to your page, what it's known as PageRank, that has proven to be a good sign that the information is well trusted. So aggregated feedback from the search quality evaluation process is used to further refine how systems discern the quality of information. And we also have spam algorithms. Spam algorithms play an important role in establishing whether a page is low quality and help search ensure that sites don't rise in search results through deceptive or manipulative behavior. Like, for example, maybe you don't see that nowadays, but maybe at the beginning of the internet, people who added invisible text on their page with a lot of keywords to try to rank high. Well, that's not going to help you anymore. Let's continue. Usability of web pages. So when ranking results, Google search also evaluates whether web pages are easy to use. Google promotes more usable pages over less usable ones. So the algorithms analyze signals that indicates whether users are able to view their result in any browser, in any device they use, and they also check for accessibility. So if content can be displayed with help for people who are blind, or all that kind of information is what is going to rank your site higher. So again, as you can see, this is not just about writing good content. And just to finish on how we rank on Google, Google also uses your country and location to deliver content relevant for your area. So imagine you are in Chicago and you search for the word football. So Google will most likely show you a result for American football and the Chicago Bears. But if you search football in Madrid, Google will rank results about what Americans call soccer, and probably you will have results related to Spanish La Liga higher or Real Madrid or something like that. So search settings, something that you can change, are also important indicator of which results you are likely to find useful. So for us, for translators, it's very useful to change the settings to find the information we need to find. And also, just to finish, sometimes your results will also be based on information about your recent search activity. So that's why people sometimes say, Google is listening to me. Well, somehow it is. They have strategies to know what you have been looking for, and that's why it appears there. Let's continue. I hope you are following everything okay. In case you don't, please just let us know. Now, I'm going to talk about something which is, I love talking about, which is function words and content words. Probably many of you who have studied linguistics or languages know what this is about, but you think, okay, what about function words and content words? What has that to do with SEO localization? Well, maybe you can listen to my little baby screaming or yelling at the door. She's out there. Okay, so let's see what content words and function words are, and why it's important to differentiate them. Well, in SEO and SEA as well, in content creation and localization, many times we will have to leave out function words and some content words as well. Mainly when we have to deal with the translation of URLs, slags, meta descriptions, etc. You don't know what all those are, don't worry, because we are going to see that in a moment. Now I have here an example from TranslaStars webpage, and I would like to ask you to identify what you think are content words and function words. In that sentence, in the sentence, discover new directions, blah, blah, blah. What do you think are content words and what do you think are function words? I'll give you, 10 seconds to try to identify content words and function words. And you'll see how knowing what they are is useful for SEO localization. So if you thought linguistics was not useful, well, welcome. Okay, you have 10 seconds. I guess you are all smart people, so you know the difference. But here you have a list of the content words, which is grow, experience, career, discover, courses, blah, blah. And on the square, you have the function words from, our, and, with, your. Okay, that was easy, okay? Let's see another activity now, okay, with function words and content words, okay? If it was not clear, let me go back. If it was not clear, content words are verbs, nouns, are words that carry information, okay? Whereas function words are those words that we use to make the sentence grammatical, but I mean, it's not, they do not carry information that is vital to understand the message. So let's do an activity on function words versus content words. Okay. Now, I would like you to identify content words and function words in the sentence above. It's very easy. I'll give you another 10 seconds. By the way, I'm not doing any advertisement of our platform. So you have, I love TranslaStars because it is the best online learning platform for translators and linguists. I just took the sentence from the internet. Okay, I know you know the answer, probably you know the answer, but let's check together, okay? So here you have the results. So content words, love, best, TranslaStars, online learning platform, and on the function word side, you have I, because it is there for an and. So as a summary, yeah, this is what content words are: adverbs, verbs, adjectives, nouns, and on the other side you have function words: pronouns, prepositions, articles, auxiliary verbs, sometimes the verb be, quantifiers, demonstratives, and conjunctions. Okay. But yes, still you may be saying, and how is this related to SEO localization? Well, I told you this was going to be legendary, so wait for it, okay? It's coming. Okay, let's go into keywords now. Keywords are the words and phrases that people type into search engines to find what they are looking for. These queries we were talking about before. They are also known as searches or queries. Even if a phrase like best online courses, like in that example, even if a phrase contains more than one word, it is still considered, or it is usually called keyword. Okay, some people call them key phrases, just for you to know. Keywords are important because your website can show up when people type them into search engines. So, as you know, showing up at the top of Google sends many visitors to our website and pages and make us sell a lot. Okay. Oops, sorry. Yeah, how to use keywords. Okay. We are going to use keywords in the main headings. We'll see what's that. In the meta title, in the title, in the meta description, in the URLs, actually in the slags. We'll see what the slags are. We are going to use keywords throughout our page, our content, our copy, the copy that we created, that we localize. We are going also to use long tail keywords. I will explain what that means in a moment. Keep in mind that Google focuses on the user's experience and on providing search results that give searchers the best possible results. So it's not, I repeat it, it's not enough just to integrate keywords or the translation into your campaign, okay? So you must now have valuable information that matches and expands on those keywords. So just having a list of keywords is not going to get traffic to your page or site. So our content should try to cover and answer somehow these questions for any topic: what, why, how, when, where. Okay, Google is super friend of questions like how can I, how to, that's, and you get a lot of results on that. There are actually a lot of sites who specialize in giving you answers to how-to questions or how can I blah, blah, blah questions. So my advice would be structure your content wisely with subtopics answering those questions, okay? Let's continue. How to translate keywords? That's an even more interesting question for those of you who work in the translation industry. Well, it is important to know the needs, of course, and strategies of the specialist, of the SEO team you work for, of your customer. So this is not a decision you should take like, okay, I'm going to translate this as I think it's better. No, ask, because you will demonstrate that your expertise, and ask what they need. If they don't know anything, then you can offer them some advice. Sometimes we can translate keywords literally, and in some cases, we will have to use other words that are not literal translations. Look for the recommendation. My advice will be to look for equivalent keywords in your language. Think of the word home office. Okay. Probably you have it in English. If you translated it literally, probably in your languages, it will make sense. But probably in many cases, like in Italian or Spanish, we don't say something like a literal translation for that. I think in Italian, they call it like a smart work or something like that. So what I mean is a keyword doesn't have to be an exact or a literal translation of the source keyword. Okay. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so there you have the keyword usage I was talking about. So the keyword phrase, for example, for auto repair, you have terms auto repair, which is title element. It's going to appear in the URL, in the body text, in the image ALT. So yeah, let's continue. Now we have an activity on keywords. Okay, again, I didn't pretend with this to make any advertising. Okay, so what do you think are the 10 most important keywords for this bootcamp, okay, that we will be having at TranslaStars at the end of the month? So take the title, the web, the topic into account. So the title is Bootcamp SEO Marketing Localization. What will you use as keywords in English, and what will you use as keywords in your own language? I'll give you 30 seconds to think about it, and you can share your answers on the chat. Think of keywords to advertise this bootcamp. What will you say in English and in your language? What do you think people will look for when looking for this, or looking for courses related to marketing, SEO, marketing localization? Okay, 30 seconds. And again, team, I will need your help here to see if we have some answers from our colleagues who are connected.
Sure.
We still have 56 people who are being really brave, and they are enduring this. Okay, come on, 10 seconds. Share keywords with me, with us.
Costas is saying training. Julia is Gargetta. The headline seems more important to me. SEO marketing localization.
Yeah.
Then Elizabeth says SEO online course, SEO localization.
Okay, SEO localization.
Yeah. Also multilingual marketing. I can see. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to include some of those you are telling me later in the SEO list of our page. Okay, let's see some results. This is what I had on what I created on the page for this bootcamp. So on the left you can see this is the back end. So this is what you see when you are creating the content. So the list of SEO keywords that I added are marketing translation, translation courses, TranslaStars, course on marketing translation, SEO for translators, SEO course. So some of those that you have shared, even my own name, because maybe people say, hey, I'm going to take a look to what Alfonso is doing these days. Okay, then this bootcamp will pop up, okay, and say, wait, we have something new. And what is more important, even if this page is in English because it's on our .com site, you can have content in Spanish. So one of the keywords I have there that you can see is curso de traducción para marketing, okay? That's what you can see in the red box. And in the green box, two things. How it will have appeared in Google, okay? And the page meta description, something which we are going to cover in a moment, this thing of the meta description. By the way, thank you all for those of you who are collaborating and writing and thinking. I learn by doing, so I hope you also do it. Okay, let's talk now about long tail keywords, something that I love, long tail keywords. And let us know if you have heard about this term before. Okay, I have mentioned this term before, long tail keywords. And I think if you take a look at the image I have here in the slides, it's very easy to understand what we mean. Long tail keywords are longer and more specific keyword phrases that visitors use when they are closer to a point of purchase or when they are using voice search, for example, this is very important. Keep in mind that people do not only type when they are looking for something, but now you use Alexa or any other device to look for content, okay? So voice, it's very important. Think of that when you are translating and localizing content, okay? Do not add a lot of words together that are very similar because it can be difficult for them, for the speech recognition engine. Okay, in other words, long tail keywords get less search traffic, okay, but will usually have a higher conversion value. So people will be people who use long tail keywords will probably be in the point of purchasing or buying something that you have on your site. Let's go to this example. Let's take the word shoes that you can see there. So if you try to position a page on top of the results page on Google with the word shoes, it's going to be almost impossible, okay? Because there are many searches using just one single word, okay? So there are many pages that have that word in their keywords list or in their meta description. If you go to the green end of the graphic, you know what is the long tail keyword that could function better, okay? If you, for example, have a shoe store, okay, it will be interesting for you to have a web page talking about running shoes for men with flat feet, okay? Because that's very specific. If someone is looking for that, it's because he or she needs that, okay? So that's the difference, okay? You can see in the middle running shoes, which is an intermediate stage, but shoes, it's something that you type when you are looking for example, stores, online stores that sell shoes, but you are not sure yet what you want to buy. But if you type something like running shoes for men with flat feet, hey, what you want is to find something because you need it, you want to go outside because during the pandemic you didn't do anything and now you want to do some exercise, okay? So again, we can offer in our translations a good literal translation, or we can offer equivalents or better keywords that based on research, of course, that are going to rank our content higher. But again, this is not our decision. You know about this, and you can offer this to your customers, okay? Let's continue. So this is another example of long tail keywords and a good cheap way to find some of them with the predictive Google search functionality. So when you start typing on Google, what is showing you is long tail keywords, okay? So you will get some of these keywords that Google proposes you as good results. Let's do another activity now, very short activities. Here you have an activity about long tail keywords. So what I would like you to do is to create long tail keywords. Think of the search best dog food. Which do you think could be 3 good long tail keywords? Think of those 3 and 3 more in your own language and share them in the chat. Come on, I'll give you 30 seconds. You're very smart people, and in 30 seconds you can get a lot. By the way, we are getting to the end, so don't worry. $15 seconds.
Ana Raquel, best dog food, organic, that's good.
Yeah.
Davis, Amazon. Maida, most recommended.
Yeah.
Best dog food for puppies.
Perfect. And then we have about that really worked well.
Best dog food for overweight pets, David's family.
Yeah.
Best, yeah.
I would also mention the breed of dog. What sort of dog is it? Is it a Labrador, an Alsatian, a
Yeah.
Bedeng?
Yeah, that's good.
Whatever.
Yeah. Also, age is very important
Yeah.
because for puppies, when you get a puppy, you're nervous and you don't know what to do at the beginning. So you look for something specific. If the dog it's old, you can look for something specific for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again,
They're talking about sterilized dogs as well. I can see in the chat.
Yeah, and you have there some answers. The answers you have given are perfect. And hey, people, we already do that. We already use long tail keywords, but maybe we didn't know that we call them long tail keywords and how search engines work. So there you have some answers. Even best dog food in Berlin. So if that website is in Berlin or based in Germany, in Berlin, hey, why don't you add that as your keyword in your content? So, you know, it could be find the best dog food in Berlin. Okay, that could be a page where you explain how to get to your physical store, something like that. Okay, okay. Thank you for your help. Let's continue. Let's talk about metadata and limitations that affect localization. Let's talk now about URLs and SLAGs. Okay, so what is a URL? I'm using something that I have used in other presentations here. This is a URL from the company I used to work for, Formlabs, which is a 3D printing company. I used to be the localization manager there. And well, URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator. A URL is the address of a given unique resource on the web. So such resources can be an HTML page, a CSS document, an image, etc. In the image on the slide, the URL is the address that appears in the search bar, so on top, okay? In blue, you can see the domain name, formlabs.com in this case, of the website. In yellow, the part inside the website where we are, so this is the blog inside Formlabs. And in red, the SLAG, okay? The SLAG makes reference to the title or to the content that page is making reference to. In this case, this is a blog post, which was called The Ultimate Guide to Painting 3D Printed Parts. Okay, that was the title of the article. And as you can see, the SLAG says Painting 3D Printed Parts, okay, separated with dashes. Okay. So, what is the SLAG in a URL? It's as you have seen, it's part of the URL, which identifies a particular page on our website and in an easy to read form. So it is the part of the URL that explains the page's content. The main SEO benefit of a SLAG is that you can change the words to make sure that it has the words that you really want to rank for. It's one of the indicators Google uses to determine what a page is about. So it's super important, okay? It only contains content words. Hey, people, do you remember when we talk about content and function words? Well, that's why they are useful, okay? So if you didn't pay attention at university to your linguistics teacher, well, we have gone through it now. It just includes the necessary words that we need we want to use. Okay, so for example, in the formulas blog post title, some content words, even some content words are left out because they do not add extra meaning, like ultimate or guide. In this case, they do not add. Maybe guide does, but the rest, the ultimate doesn't add anything. It's just a clickbait trick. They only use lowercase letters, so do not. Well, actually, you cannot add capital case. You cannot use special characters or symbols. Okay, and no special letters outside the English alphabet for Roman type. So, if, for example, you are from Spain or from France or from a Romance language, you cannot use accents or anything like that. Okay. So the word España should be written Espana, okay? And yeah, last but not least, each word is separated by a dash, okay? That's super important. So do not put everything together without dashes. Okay, sorry. When and why translate slangs? When, again, I always repeat this, but this is very important. Do not translate things without asking, asking your customer, your SEO team or your marketing team if you have to translate them, okay? Because some companies have the strategy to translate slangs, some others, they do not, okay? To rank better, it's better if you translate the slangs, but hey, it's a decision of your customer or your company it's their decision of what they want to do. And slangs, you have to make them memorable and to the point. So they have to be short, okay? Do not make very long things because nobody's going to remember them. More on how to translate them. So again, keep them short and descriptive. No need to be a literal translation. There is a 255 character limit, but better keep them under 90. Use content words only unless for any reason, for example, to disambiguate or because the function word is important for the topic of the page, do not use function words, just content words. Use at least one primary keyword. So this keyword should be part of the page title. So as we have seen in the case of the blog post I showed you before, it was 3D painting, okay? So this keyword should be part of the page title, some of the headings in the page, or make reference to the main content which is being dealt with on the page we make reference to. And very important, in the URL, do not repeat the brand name. The brand name is at the beginning. So you see formulas.com, you don't need to add it at the end, okay? So that will be stupid and you will be consuming characters and it will be no use, okay? And languages with cases like German. So add words as you will look for them, okay? So think about that. Remember, you cannot use accents or other symbols, special symbols. And you can have plurals, of course, in slangs, okay? Both for when you type them and when you translate them. Okay, let's see an example of a good and bad slang. You have there the name of the article. We want to make a reference in the slang, the ultimate guide to painting 3D printed parts, the one I showed you before. The good slang is painting/3D/ or dash, sorry, printed/parts. A bad one is ultimate-guide-to. Okay, do not make it long, make it short, okay? Let's do a short activity on slangs. Imagine you need to create slangs for this course, okay? Which is a course we have on our TranslaStars.com site, which is Guide to User Manual Translation. It's a webinar that will take place soon. How will you do it in English and in your own language? Remember using the Roman alphabet only. If you are from, if you speak Arabic, you cannot write it in Arabic. This is for the slang, remember. So the title is Webinar Guide to User Manual Translation. And this is the beginning of the URL, TranslaStars.com/courses/, and there you can write the slang. What will be a good Slack, both in English, both in your own language. Come on, 30 seconds to do that and share it on the chat. Fifteen seconds. Come on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Did anyone share any answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
People are saying webinar, guides, user manual translation. Julia.
Okay. I have a question for those who added the webinar. Do you think that's that important? I wouldn't add webinar. I wouldn't add guide. I wouldn't add to. I would just add user dash manual dash translation, and that's all. Okay, because the rest is not that important. That's what you have to think of. Okay, just insert the most important words. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you for those who have collaborated. Okay, let's continue. Let's talk now about meta title and title tags. Okay. Okay, so let me see. Okay, title tags are still one of the more significant ranking factors. Okay, if tags are missing, duplicate, or too long or too short, Google often rewrites the title tag in the search results, which results in lower click-through rates. Okay, so that there you have in the image of this Arsenal FC official website. That's the meta title or the title tag when you look for something. Okay, so remember, write or localize a good one, because if Google is going to rewrite it, you are going to get worse results. Okay, in the example, I've used the Arsenal Football Club meta title. Take into account that the tag is weighted left to right. Okay, so take that into account, and do not write sentences unless creating questions like what I mentioned before, how to. Okay, because Google loves these how to answers. So again, in the meta title, the word on the left should be the most important. So in this case, as you can see, the word on the left is arsenal.com. Okay, Arsenal FC, sorry. And then words outside the character limit are not considered highly relevant. Okay, so that's also super important. And another thing is that you have to separate parts with this symbol. To avoid having the title cut off, keep the character count to 50 characters. Use query terms in the title, the most important ones first. Arsenal FC, official website. No sentences, as I was saying. And you can add, of course, special character symbols, and you can use other alphabets apart from the Roman type. Okay. Let's see meta description. Well, what is, sorry. Let me see, yeah. What is a meta description? Oh, I think, let me see. Yeah, what is a meta description? Oh, sorry. Here, yeah, I skipped one slide. What is a meta description? Okay, so the meta description is an HTML attribute that provides a brief summary of a web page. Search engines such as Google often display the meta description in search results, where they can highly influence user click-through rates. It's a brief summary of the web page. It should be limited to 155 or 160 characters, although sometimes you see longer ones. They have to be unique and interesting. You can, of course, be provocative and engaging with questions or call to actions. So in the example from the Arsenal FC site, you have their meta description, which starts with Arsenal Football Club, sorry, official website, get the latest club news, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So again, they have to be unique and interesting, not a duplicate with other meta tags or the H1, okay? So take that, we'll see what it's an H1 in a moment. So how to translate meta descriptions? Well, again, keep them short and descriptive, respect character limitation, what we said before around 155, 160, transcreate with the permission of your customer, and use keywords, but do not paste a list of keywords in the meta description, okay? I had an activity on meta descriptions, but let's skip it because otherwise it's going to be too long today. You can do it by yourselves if you want when they share the PDF. Okay, let's go now to, sorry, I think I went too fast, to H1 and HN tags. What does H1 and HN tags mean? Okay, you have it in the image, it's quite easy. So H1's is a set, H1, sorry, set the topic relevancy of the page. We will say it is the main heading of the page. Okay, so as you can see there, if the page talked about on page SEO, that will be the H1 tag, okay? Do not stuff keywords or sales copy in H1s, okay? Also, do not use more than one H1 on a page, okay? This is when you are creating a page, you'll see what is an H1, okay? Make sure H1s are unique for each page, okay? Otherwise, you are going to drive Google crazy. And H1s help prioritize the topical focus of the page. When H1s are missing or duplicated, it takes away the key indicator of what the page is about. Okay, oops. Under 70 characters, yes. And then we have these HN, which are the subheadings. So you can have as many subheadings as you want, as long as it keeps the information structure and order. Okay. So here you can see a good example, okay, of what will be the order, H1, H2, H3, etc. Okay, and the type of information you should add. Alt text on images. Okay. So when should you add alt text? Well, when the image adds information to the content on the page, okay? So when should you not add content to the alt text? Well, when the image is decorative, not informative, okay? Like a background image. So alternative text may be provided in the alt attribute or in the surrounding context of the image. Sometimes you have it as a subheading. Every image must have an alt attribute, but it can be left empty, okay? The alternative text should present the content and function of the image, be succinct, and the alternative text should not be redundant or use the phrases image of or graphic of, okay? So that's the idea, okay? This is all metadata. And we are getting to the end, people. This is the last thing I'm going to show you, links. And you think, okay, oops, here I had another thing about alt texts that shouldn't be here. Oh no, sorry, this is about links, but I didn't change the title of this page. I'm sorry about that. So it says alt text on images, but it should say links. Okay, links. Well, links, what you should do with links is to use unique and descriptive anchor text information to the content on the page. Google needs to know about the links, and they should be unique. So I have shared there two examples with you of a bad link and a good one. So take a look to the first one and think of it also from the localization perspective. To see all our basketball videos, click here for the entire listing. Okay, click here. Click here is not helpful. Click here, Google is not going to recognize that as a good link, because click here is very general. How many pages have click here as a link? Like billions, okay? However, if you use something like feel free to browse all of our basketball videos, okay, that's a good link. That's a good localization, okay? So, well, localization if you localize it, but that's a good way to write the content. So that's what I recommend you. There are many of your customers will have this click here. No, that doesn't help. Tell them that it's better if you tell them, okay, instead of click here, it's better to use like download this, download the guide to do blah blah blah, because that's really helpful. Okay, and team people, we have reached to the end. Thank you for supporting me during 1 hour and 20 minutes. I just wanted to tell you that this is just the tip of SEO localization. There are many more other things that we can talk about, and I will cover them on my bootcamp on SEO marketing localization, which is at the end of October on our TranslaStars.com site. So I invite you to take that course, because it's going to be legendary as well. And yeah, yes, I would like to thank Said Global for the opportunity, and all their team for their support and for organizing this and for being so nice all the time, and for being so helpful today. And thank you all also for being there. I will also like to remind you that, hey, use the code webinar if you go to any of our platforms and you get 30 euros off any of our courses. It's just valid today and tomorrow. And now it's your time. If you have questions and answers, we have just 5 minutes. So that's all from my side.
Thank you very much, Alfonso. Got a few questions here. When people search in the search engine using keywords, how many pages do they tend to look at before they get a bit tired and bored and switch off?
That's a very good question. Well, it depends on what you are looking for, but it also depends. And sometimes it's frustrating because you haven't set the right settings for your search. So as I'm talking from a translator perspective. So you need to find information to know how to translate something. Maybe you shouldn't be using the Google search engine from, if you're based in Spain, from Spain, you should change the settings to other countries. You should also know how to look for information, which is not like just typing words. But yeah, I will say that, yeah, if you have to go through a lot of pages, that's not helpful. So usually the information is contained at the beginning. There are many ways, by the way, I didn't cover that here because it will take a lot of time, but there are many ways in which Google presents information. So as you can see, they can present a snippet, which is a piece of text from your content, which sometimes is not helpful for your company, because sometimes you don't want the snippet. Sometimes you want people, if you have the snippet, this piece of text that answers your question, your query, you say, okay, I got the answer. I'm not going to click on the page. No, sometimes you actually have to do an effort to de-rank your page, because that's rank 0 and you don't want to appear on a snippet. You want people to click on your page. So yeah, I don't have an answer for the question, like a specific answer. I think it depends on how your settings are, well, how your settings, the keyword you have used, many other things, but we are not very patient.
Okay, thanks, Alfonso. I have a question from Sophia Espada. When searching with keywords in different languages.
Yeah, Nigel, very quickly, because we are running out of time. Okay. We've been like prolonging this, and we really need to finish.
Okay, shall we just fit in one more question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah, Sophia says, what about diacritical marks and accents? Should you sort of use them when translating keywords? Does it make a difference?
Yeah, I mean, of course, this is something I was telling at the beginning, or saying at the beginning, sorry. Write correctly in your language. So Google is not going to penalize you for missing an accent or something like that, but your customers are. So for keywords, of course, you need to write them correctly, to type them correctly. and you need to use them with accents, all that. Of course, in a Slack, in the URL, as you know, you cannot add them, but in the rest of the text, of course, you need to use them. In any case, even if you write a word without an accent or with an accent, Google is going to identify it, and it's going to take people to your site. But the better the content is written, the more customers you will have going to your website. The more mistakes you see, typos, things like that, it will, you know, your eyes will start bleeding, and you'll say, okay, I don't want to look at that. It's when you see one of these memes with a lot of mistakes, and you say, it's funny, but when you see with so many typos, it's not that funny anymore. So, yeah, by the way, I wanted to say, if you want to make me more questions, please feel free to find me on LinkedIn. It's Alfonso González Bartolesis, and I would be glad to answer your questions.
Hey guys, thank you so much, Alfonso. Thank you so much. And very quickly for us, just to close the event, we have another upcoming event. This time is going to be another medical workshop, and we have really good also guests. We have Lucia Franco, James Liu, Lottie Dolin, and Dr. Kim Lucas, and they're going to be introducing us about communication in the medical field. This is a really, really interesting workshop that you shouldn't miss. It's really nice. And from our side, guys, if you want to be part of our community, just drop us an email to SEO Global Translations, and we can add you to our WhatsApp group. We have a community of people in a WhatsApp group. We can also talk you through our associate program. You can be associate. We can also introduce you to our culture, to what we're doing. And you can also engage with all the members in our community so that we can enhance and bring the linguist community forward. You can also reach us, tell us your personal stories and experience in being a translator, an interpreter, subtitler, and linguist in general. We'll be very happy to hear your stories, because we need them when getting in touch with universities, associations, linguist institutions, and so on. Your word must be heard, and we can be that vehicle so that we can reinforce this community. So share, please, your ideas, participate with us as much as you can. Follow SEO Global Translations so that you can be updated with activities when we invest any surplus of money in many social causes. You can also be updated with workshops and so on. And lastly, I'll be really grateful if you can like the post where, you know, our picture of this event is posted. It has been posted on LinkedIn, so you can help us also to gain more visibility. Thank you so much, Alfonso. It's been so nice. Please, I encourage you to go to Alfonso's seminars and workshops. He's a very knowledgeable person. He's got a terrific career in localization, subtitling, and translation. And I look forward to hearing from all of you. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, guys. And
Thank you.
Alfonso.